Coming up on today's show, we have an update on Viola Beach.
Metrolink ticket machines fail yet again.
And Emily is here with us to talk about the Oscars.
Good afternoon. 6 people were arrested by Greater Manchester Police in Marbella as part of an investigation into gang crime in Salford. 3 of them are from Salford and have been arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to commit murder, possession of a firearm, membership of an organised crime group, and weapons including a loaded handgun, knuckle dusters, a baseball bat and 4 knives were discovered in 2 Spanish villas.
Viola Beach's debut single has entered the official singles chart over a week after the Warrington band and their manager were killed in a car accident in Sweden. The single Swings and Water Slides reached number 11 in the charts after support from Liam Gallagher and the Stone Roses. Inzi Rashid reports.
Viola Beach were rising stars of the British music scene. Chris Leonard, River Reeves, Thomas Lowe and Jack Dakin, guided by their manager Craig Tarry. The band were returning from a festival in Stockholm over a week ago where their car plunged 80 feet off a bridge in waters below, taking all 5 lives. An investigation has been taking place in Sweden to determine how the band and their manager died. So far we have learnt from local authorities a Nissan Qashqai plunged into the water through a gap in the bridge. Police received a phone call at 2:30 a.m. local time and were at the scene within 5 minutes. Flashing lights and warning signs had been set up before the opening in the bridge, and eyewitnesses saw the car driving very fast and didn't see the brake lights on the vehicle. More information is yet to emerge. Back home in Warrington, a book of condolences lies in the town hall. Flowers have been placed at the Golden Gates, and friends have gathered outside the bar where the band were formed, sharing their memories and disbelief. Fans of the British indie band launched a campaign to get Viola Beach's track Swings and Water Slides to number 1 in the UK chart. They topped the Spotify charts, iTunes and Amazon, however only managed number 11 in the official UK top 40. Viola Beach's record label confirmed the proceeds from the sale of the single will go to the families of the band and their manager. Inzi Rashid, Quays News.
Our music correspondent Will Whitby joins us in the studio to tell us a bit more about Viola Beach. Will, tell us more about the campaign to get the band to number 1.
Of course, yeah, the campaign was quite soon after the band unfortunately died. And the money that was raised to get the single into the top 20, which is quite an impressive feat for a band that were relatively unknown a few weeks ago. They got to number 11, and a chunk of the money is going to the families for their support, for funeral costs, and just for general well-being, because it's not just a tragic loss for the music industry, it's also a tragic loss for 5 families, because they've lost like 5 members of their families, which is tragic, really.
Yeah.
So it was set up online, it was an online petition, and people bought the single off iTunes or streamed it on Spotify just to get the number out there, and eventually it did get to number 11, and it got backed by quite some big people as well. And the Stone Roses backed it, Liam Gallagher backed it, the Cortinas and Blossoms flooded in with lots and lots of memories, and just to get the people to buy the singles, because the charts don't really matter that much anymore to some people, but to get like a memorial for this, for such a small indie band to get into the charts and recognition is quite a big thing, I think.
So social media went wild for them, yes?
Definitely. It was trending online for all day, the day it sadly happened.
Yeah, okay. So the Blossoms you mentioned earlier, they're going to tribute?
Yeah, they tributed a few days ago at their show in the Concord 2 in Warrington. Unfortunately, Viola Beach were meant to support the band on their upcoming tour. So instead of just getting another band on, they played a pre-recorded set that was made by Viola Beach.
Thank you very much, Will. Viola Beach have had support from various artists in the industry.
Now, if you frequently use Metrolink service, you may have been late to work because of the disruptions during the morning rush hour. Not once, but twice. For 2 days in a row, Metrolink ticket machines have failed. Commuters were unable to use their bank cards to pay for the tram journey at several stops on both days. Peter Cushing, the Metrolink director, has apologised for anyone who has experienced delays. He said, "I share their anger. While the fault is outside of our control, our customers are being inconvenienced by this issue, which is completely unacceptable. I have this morning expressed my utmost disappointment to our contractor, Scheid and Bachmann, who assure me this is being treated as a top priority and demanded a root and branch investigation be undertaken to identify and eradicate this fault once and for all." Now, Salford University Boating Club took part in the British Universities and Colleges Sport Head in Newcastle this weekend. There were around 40 universities involved, including Newcastle, Durham, Cambridge and London. The races were split into 4 divisions, 2 on each day, with 4 separate races in each division. Beginner crews raced on Saturday and raced 2 kilometres down the river, although that distance was changed to 1.5 kilometres due to high winds and a strong current. Intermediate crews raced 5 kilometres on Sunday. Newcastle were overall winners of the weekend, winning 5 of the 13 races.
So could you tell me a bit about the race?
Yeah, so we took part in Bucks Head in Newcastle on Sunday, and it was a 5-kilometre race. It was actually quite nice because when the boys raced on Saturday, it was really, really windy and the race had to be cut short because a couple of boats nearly capsized. So we were all a bit nervous, thinking, you know, the race could get cancelled, we've come all this way, we've trained really hard. But yeah, we made ourselves really, really proud.
The people of Manchester are one of the least likely to attend church on a Sunday. Manchester has been named the 7th worst diocese to attend a Church of England service in report released at the Archbishop's Council. According to the report, 1 in 57 Christians were estimated to attend church on a weekly basis in 2014, well below the national average of 1 in 42 attendees.
I just feel churches are out of touch nowadays, especially with kind of the teenage element. There's a real kind of almost a lack of respect for it at the moment, and I don't think they do enough to get teenagers involved. Really, that's why I think we're down.
The hours should be arranged more conveniently for people. You know, to get them out of bed for 10:30 in the morning can be a bit difficult to people.
Well, Manchester is a thriving city and people, I guess, have very busy lives. And I think perhaps if people took more time to stop and reflect and take time out, they might develop a greater appreciation of the spiritual side of them. And that in turn, I think, might help them to appreciate their Christianity, which I guess a majority of people were born into.
Now, our film correspondent Emily Murray is here to give us a roundup of the Oscars and a few predictions. Tell us what you think is going to happen at this weekend's Academy Awards.
So yes, on Sunday it's the 88th Academy Awards, hosted by Chris Rock. It's his 2nd time hosting, and The Revenant is leading the pack with 12 nominations, and I think it's pretty much guaranteed to win Best Film. I'll eat my hat if it doesn't. Alejandro Giannato is pretty much guaranteed to win Best Director as well. I think it's going to be quite predictable. The most open category is Actress in the Leading Role, which I think could go to any one of the wonderful nominees, such as Cate Blanchett for Carol.
So, not the most eventful awards I'd expect us, but in the run-up to these awards, there's been a lot of talk about the lack of diversity in the nominees, and is that a problem, you think, of the Academy itself, or also maybe a casting problem?
I think it's a problem in film in general. There's certainly a lack of representation, not just ethnicities, but minor groups, women in particular. LA Times had an investigation in the board of the Academy in 2012 and suggested that 94% are white and 77% male, which caused quite a lot of anger. And quite a lot of people are boycotting the Oscars this year. Will Smith's not attending. But that has sparked debate, and then the Academy are now making a move to double the amount of diverse members in their board by 2020.
Okay, and you talked a bit about the favourites that we can expect to probably win some awards. What are some of the movies that have missed out, or some of the actors that have missed out?
I think for me it's Star Wars. Where is Star Wars in this race? It was the biggest film of last year. It's a brilliant film. Everyone would agree it's well directed. It's only nominated for sound and visual effects. Where's the rest of the nominees? And then also Carol, which is one of my favourite films from last year, a 1950s romantic drama starring Cate Blanchett. Not even nominated for Best Film, even though it was one of loads of people's favourites from last year.
And in Chris Rock, as you mentioned, we have a host who's returning. There have been some issues with hosts in the recent years. How do you think Chris Rock will do?
I think Chris Rock's great. He's funny. I mean, he's been contributing to this debate as well about lack of diversity. So I think he will make maybe a few awkward jokes. But I think he's a great personality. And the Oscars can be a bit dull we can all admit that it can be a bit boring. I don't think it's anything like the BAFTAs, which is a wonderful event with Stephen Fry, but I think Chris Rock will do a great job and we should be in for a good night.
Is there any chance then of any upsets in some of the categories?
No, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, the Academy's nominated people they think deserves to be nominated. And there's going to be some really happy actors and cast members and crew members out there. I think there's always going to be upset. There's always going to be a few tears behind the scenes, but that's just the nature of award ceremonies.
Well, tune in on Sunday then. Thank you for joining us, Emily.
Thank you.
It's a sunny day today, but will it last? Let's go over to the weather with Martin Griffiths.
Most places should experience a fine dry day with light winds, although it will be staying cold with temperatures reaching the dizzying heights of only 7 degrees Celsius. Moving into tonight, much of the region will be left with a widespread frost and it should stay dry, but a few light showers might move in the early tomorrow morning. So wrap up warm as it's going to get down to about 2 degrees Celsius. That's all for the weather.
So, who do you think is going to win the Oscars?
Well, I think Emily's right. It might be a little bit boring, but I'm gutted that Star Wars has missed out. I think Revenant has a good shout, and maybe we'll see Leo finally win.
Hopefully. He's one of my favourite actors. Loved him in Wolf of Wall Street. Loved him in everything he's done. So, hopefully...
He deserves it, yeah.
Yeah. That's all we have time for today. Make sure to tune in on Friday for Friday First and Chatterboxes. We'll be back next Tuesday at 1:30 for more Quays news.
Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
See ya.